Yo guys, Vision here, back with more Marvel Rivals content. Today's video I'll be bringing you the full Angela guide following the latest update, breaking down all of her abilities, including her team up and addressing both her strengths and weaknesses. This is episode 29 of my Hero Series guides with all of the previous episodes on my channel. So, on that note, let's get right into it. So I guess first things first, as usual in this series, we'll kick this thing off with an overview of the hero. Angela is a high-skilled character with incredible mobility, shielding, and displacement capabilities, as well as an AoE expert area of effect with hybrid brawling capabilities and playstyles, as well as, of course, an aerial threat, as she is the first flying Vanguard in this game. A Vanguard, a tank, a strong hero that is going to be good for mobility and evasion and sort of just dealing sort of displacement and grouped up damage with her axes, which we'll get into shortly. Now, as for the character's stats and abilities, she has a base health of 450. However, the team up ability that she has provides her with 100 bonus health as the team up anchor for this, which I'll go over shortly, as she has a 550 actual health in game, as well as a standard movement speed of 6 meters per second. As for her abilities, her first one is the Spear of Ickles, which allows you to lunge forward with your spear, dealing 45 damage per hit, up to 7 meters in range, and with the damage increasing with the attack charge that you have as like her passive, which we'll get into shortly. At full charge, the Spear Ickle can launch up enemies and deal 15 extra damage, and has an attack speed of 1 hit per second. Now, it's also worth mentioning, as I said, the passive ability before we continue the guide to discuss her charging effect and how this increases the damage output of the character. The Seraphic Saw, the passive ability, allows Angela to glide freely through the air. Continuous flight builds attack charge at 22.2 energy per second, and the attack charge is effectively what's going to allow you to deal more damage. The higher the attack charge, the more damage basically you'll deal, with up to 15 additional damage with the spear. Now, as well as the first primary, she also has a second primary attack. This is known as the Axes of Ickles, which can only be used when she's on the ground, whereas the spear is used only in the air. And for this, she can alternate powerful strikes forward with twin axes, dealing increased damage as the attack charge goes and grows. For the fourth strike, propels you forward in like a swift dash motion. The first 3 strikes deal 30 damage, whilst the fourth strike deals 50 damage with a maximum distance of up to 4 meters away. So it's very close quarters, as you can see, with an attack speed of the first 3 strikes at 0.4 seconds per hit, and the fourth strike at 0.6 seconds per hit. So just under 2 seconds, and you can deal 150 damage per set, sort of combo in itself, within a dash attack as well. And then we finally have the first ability, which is her shield, known as the Shielded Stance, very similar to like the likes of Captain America, which transforms the Ickles into a shield, gaining attack charge when absorbing damage. So you kind of want to use this to either help and support teammates blocking damage as incoming, or you want to use it to try and move around the map and evade, keep yourself safe and stay alive, gaining attack charge when absorbing damage. This shield has a value of 350 with a cooldown of 1.5 seconds between uses, and a 4-second cooldown after the shield is destroyed, with a recovery speed for the shield's value of itself for up to 50 per second. So that will take up to 7 seconds, of course, with a 25% of the damage resisted then charges into the passive ability in itself for the conversion, which is really useful to understand, because that is how you want to really manage this character, with its kit management and all of the understanding of the conversion, the charges, and the passive attack, as I've said. We then also have the Divine Judgment ability. By pressing L1 when you're in the air, Angela can dive downwards, switch to the twin axes, and infuse the ground with Ickles and create a Divine Judgment zone. Upon impact, within this zone, you gain enhanced speed for yourself, and any attacks in this zone grant bonus health to both yourself and nearby allies. When she hits the ground, it deals 30 initial damage within a 2 meter length, 2 meter width, and a height of 2.5 meters zone, as well as a damage over time effect of up to 12.5 damage for 6 seconds in duration with an 8 meter radius. This ability has a 12-second cooldown, providing 35% movement speed boost to herself. Within the Divine Judgment zone itself, Angela's Axes of Ickles, the second primary attack, any hits you have grant 30 bonus health for yourself, and 15 bonus health to any allies within that area in itself, and up to a maximum of 200 bonus health. And when you are grounded, by pressing L1 again, allows Angela to take to the skies, switching back to the Spear of Ickles, and allows you to fly around, ascending up 8 meters in the sky and resuming permanent flight to utilize her final ability, the Assassin's Charge, which you can enter an accelerated sort of dash state by pressing R1, becoming immune to any knockbacks or launch ups, and enemies struck head on are carried through the air for a short distance. This ability has a 3-second sort of cooldown, really useful for escaping as well as separating enemies, displacing from groups, and has a 100 maximum energy, which is really useful in what you kind of need to know to actually push the enemies out the way, recovering 10 energy per second passively, costing 25 energy when used, and also 75 energy per second when piercing an enemy. So this will really quickly sort of deplete how much energy you have up. The ability actually requires a minimum of 30 energy to actually use in itself, and upon activation has a dash state speed of 16 meters per second, making her very fast. I think the fastest in the game during this for the dash in itself, and can carry or move up to 2 enemies, which deals 30 piercing damage. And for the special effect of this ability, every enemy you pierce grants Angela with a 50 sort of per second energy recovery speed, which is really useful to know. So you really do want to try and gain sort of any movement. You kind of want to make sure you pick someone and displace them from the group in order to actually recover any energy back. Otherwise, you're just going to leave yourself quite vulnerable, which I found quite early on. Now, I haven't really got any playing time so far with the character. I have about 3 or 4 maybe quick play games. I have found the character is definitely difficult to use, but really fun as well in the grand scheme of things. And then, of course, we have the ultimate ability, the Heaven's Retribution, where you wrap your spear in ribbons and hurl it with force. Upon impact, the ribbons basically bind any nearby enemies. Angela can leap towards that spear's location, damaging surrounding enemies and creating a divine judgment zone. Again, this ultimate costs only 3,100 energy, so making it quite cheap and sort of relatively easy to earn. Perfect for crowd control, dealing 100 ground damage in itself upon impact and 10 spellfield damage as well within an 8-meter radius. And any mobility abilities by any enemies in that area that are bound by the ribbons will be disabled, preventing them from actually escaping. And enemies within a certain distance around the spear will be slowed by 80%. And the summon itself has a 600 health, so fairly tanky, so it's harder to destroy, but stops enemies from using any abilities and escaping, and being the perfect combo ultimate with other ultimates in this game or abilities, especially high burst and AoE ones. And then, as I said earlier, we also have the Celestial Command team ability, where Angela shares fragments of her Ichors with Thor, empowering him to hurl a Thunder Spear that restores Thor force for any enemy struck. Afterward, Thor can basically leap to that spear's explosion point, dealing a second wave of damage to all enemies within that range, making it going to be one of the best meta team abilities in the game for Thor, making it so much more fun to play in itself, especially with the new buffs. And altogether, I think this sort of duo in itself can really disrupt and displace an enemy team, make it really miserable for the lives of supports and strategists in this game. In summary, I'd say she's very similar to the likes of Captain America in her sort of playstyle sense. Of course, more mobile as a flyer, but with the similar sort of shielding gameplay and incredible crowd control, AoE and displacement capabilities. So honestly, I think it's quite difficult to play and understand, especially if you're new to this game, given she is a 4-star difficulty heroes. But hopefully this guide has helped you guys. If you've enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any cool clips or any sort of tips and tricks that you've learned so far about playing with Angela or being a part of an Angela team comp, let me know down below in the comments and I'll go right back to you. I'm Vision. I hope this guide helped you, and I'll see you in the next one.